Hi, hello, and welcome to the Notebook Nook with me, Mera. This is a place to unwind and reflect on our day-to-day lives, sprinkled with some bookish convos and, of course, some stories of my life. If that's something that sparks your interest, you're more than welcome to join the venture that I call the Notebook Nook. Hi, hello, this is Esmeralda V, and welcome here to my podcast today. Okay, you guys. So I know that there was an episode in which I was talking, actually, in most of my episodes, I have been talking about plants and farm life and nature and everything. And I realized that more and more I've been talking about it, but I've also been wanting to be around it as well. And I don't know, I guess just thinking about in my childhood, how surrounded I was to wildlife and nature and stuff. And it's just, I don't know, it's starting to kind of come back to me and I'm starting to actually enjoy it much more. And I don't know, it's bringing like a new type of life into my world. It's just something that I cannot explain. Now, I know I've mentioned several times here on my podcast that I have dealt with some, mental health issues, and I have struggled a lot mentally, especially in the past year. Now, there's many reasons of that, and probably sometime in the near future, I probably will talk about some of the things with, of course, some trigger warning for those who probably don't want to be triggered. But I've dealt with a lot of trauma in my childhood and growing up as a preteen and teenage years and even adult life. I've dealt with things that have been pretty much almost life changing in my life, traumatic situations. And it has been almost like it's been building up and building up and building up. And because I've never really sought therapy, I never really talked to anybody about my issues, about the things that I've gone through. And I've just never had the resources, or I never really reached out to resources to find the help that I needed. And it wasn't until last year that I finally did what I needed to do. And through the help of my husband and my loved ones, that pretty much pushed me to go and actually finally talk to a therapist and actually figure out the root of what was causing my depression and what was happening, because I was having a lot of anxiety and panic attacks and it was becoming too excessive. And now today, as I am thinking about that, I'm like, wow, like I cannot believe like how definitely 1 year can make a difference. And I am the proof, you guys, that if any of you guys listening to my podcast are dealing with any type of mental health issue or just anything, that you guys are dealing with, whatever it is, I just want you to know that right now, it probably seems like you're at the pit of things in your life right now. I'm telling you guys, a year can make a big difference. And I know a year just seems so long. And so I just want to tell you guys, there's hope out there. There's so many resources out there for you guys to definitely reach out to. But I want to say something that through all of that, I have realized that I've started to have this love of plants. It's very odd. It's like my mom, she's always had plants in her yard. Not a lot, but she did have her own. She even had an apple tree, a peach tree. I was actually pretty intrigued how much I love to play in the dirt and actually dig out worms and put them back, or hide the little froggies that were just coming out of hibernation, and just so many things that I used to do and helping my mom with the yard. And like I said, she didn't have like a lot of things in her yard, but she did have this rose bush that was absolutely stunning and beautiful. And it got a little crazy and wild because this rose bush would get so tall. I'm talking about really a couple feet tall, like taller than us. So I'm talking about 5 to 6 feet tall. And it would always grow out of control. So we would always have to tame it. We'd always have to get some strings or something to kind of put them together. And I would help my mom with it. And of course, with thorns, you're getting pokes left and right in your hands, on your arms. It gets caught on your hair as you're bending over to like lean over. It's just, it's crazy. Like rose bushes, you really have to have a love for them to have them or take care of them. So my mom has these rose bushes and they're kind of more like the little tea kind of style roses, really small, dainty little roses. And they're nice, beautiful little pink colors. And yeah, so I remember always seeing that because I was at the entrance of her house. And now actually, for some reason, I got motivated to pick up a rose bush and end up putting it on my side of the house. So that's actually where I'm going at with this, you guys, that knowing how I grew up with nature and knowing how I grew up with lots of plants and everything, one of the things that I struggled with is keeping a plant alive. I mean, and I think I might have mentioned in other podcasts, but when it came to plants, my plants would always wither, they always die. I would overwater. Then eventually I would forget to water them. They would say succulents are like very easy plants. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get a succulent. I got two of them. And yeah, I mean, they lasted maybe like 3 months and then they died. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I thought succulents were so easy. But I think what happened with me is that I think I might have overwatered those. I didn't really let the soil to kind of like dry up. I would always make sure that it was moist. So I think that was the kind of problem. And yeah, but either way, ended up killing the poor little succulents. And then the next thing I was told was, oh, well, you know what? Air plants are very easy to take care of. You cannot possibly kill an air plant. So I was like, okay, I'll give that a try. I had an air plant also, lasted me about a few months. And the next thing you know, I went to go check on it to see if I can water it. And all I remembered is picking it up and it crumbled, you guys. It crumbled on the palm of my hands. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Am I a plant killer? Is that what I became now? It's just like, I cannot sustain these plants. What is happening to me? But I thought to myself, you know what though? I do have these palm kind of plants that haven't died on me. And I had them since they were wee little babies. And I'm talking about they weren't even a foot big. Like they were just maybe 3-4 inches tall, very small little palm-like trees. And I was like, well, not trees, but the plants. And I was like, you know what? I haven't killed them. They're still doing fantastic. They're doing great. I even had to get a bigger pot for them. And even right now, I still have them. I have one in my room and in the master bedroom. And then I have another one in our guest room. And that one, it just stays there right by the window. And they both like love it. And those aren't like too finicky, you guys. Like those kind of palm plants that I have, I wish I knew the exact name of it. But I legit just wait until the soil is completely dry. And I'm talking about crumbly dry. And then that's where I, add the water to kind of moisten the soil. And then I leave it alone. And I make sure it always has sunlight. But yeah, they're fairly easy plants to take care of. And eventually I did end up buying more of them because I was like, okay, I'm definitely doing fantastic with these type of plants. And for some reason, the past like couple of months, probably from April, I started to slowly collect more plants and slowly getting one or two and this and that. And they've been lasting on me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm impressed. Something about planting and having a plant and knowing it's still surviving. But for some reason, just the idea of the plant, I don't know, it was giving me some kind of life. It was giving me this just kind of almost like a little hope. It's just, I cannot explain it to you guys. But for me, it was like a big deal to keep these plants alive. And I was thinking, you know what? I think I'm ready to go outside and kind of give our house a little bit of that curb appeal because I've been so afraid to even touch anything outside, any of the bushes that I have out there because I'm like, I'm going to kill something. I'm going to overcut, over prune, that kind of stuff. Or I don't know, like over water. But I decided to give a little bit more effort this time around. And my husband was all for it. He's like, yeah, go ahead, just don't overwork yourself. It's totally fine. And I did it, you guys. I started to actually do a lot of things out there. And now I do want to say one of the things that I did was actually ended up planting that apple tree that I know I have mentioned before. My son's apple tree that came from a little seed from a little McDonald's little bag from the apple slices that they give you. And to now see it outside. Now, I don't know how well it's going to do outside, but I am hoping that it does well. So far, so good. But a couple leaves had already flew off and that's making me a little nervous. But we did get one of those long stakes and kind of tied it to it just to make sure that it doesn't flop over because it's very tall. And yeah, so that's one of the things that I did end up planting outside. A few other things that I did actually plant was rose bushes. And I was actually very surprised that I even thought to do rose bushes. But I think something about knowing my mom had a rose bush in her yard. And there's also somebody that I follow on YouTube that actually kind of gave me a little inspiration to like, you know what, I think I've watched enough of his videos to say that maybe I can explore this idea of actually maintaining a rose bush in my yard. So I ended up going on ahead and doing it. Now, for those who may not know, this individual from YouTube, he does have a lot of like knockout roses and all different types of roses in his yard. And the reason why he started his little rose garden in general, he actually did it for therapeutic purposes, which is where I'm heading at with this, you guys. I've realized that when it came to plants or even the process of planting. And now this isn't for everybody, so it's okay if you don't have a green thumb and that's not something that you specifically do. There's other hobbies, other things that you can definitely try to do to help you. But for me, I've realized that it has been really helping me. It's very therapeutic for me. And even watching this YouTube channel, I've been fairly enjoying it. And I was actually watching this last year when I was going through like the muck of it all, of my major depression and everything. And the YouTube channel, if you guys want to know, it's called My Therapy Garden. And this individual actually started his YouTube channel back in like 2016, which is around the year, actually just a few months before, actually a month before I actually started my YouTube channel too. So I found that pretty interesting. But this is actually a vet who actually used to be in the US Army, and he ended up with a lot of PTSD. So the way that he actually dealt with it, one of the things that he did to actually help was doing a garden, and he realized that that was very therapeutic to him. And now he has an amazing garden, and I follow him, I watch his videos, and they're just so inspiring. And one of the things that he does say at the very end of his videos, which I find it so good, is he always says at the end, like, I hope you guys enjoyed my video kind of thing. And he says, we're playing in the dirt. Help me take away the hurt. And I was like, oh, I love that. I love everything about that. And he especially explains why his garden is so therapeutic to him. And I've realized even to myself right now, as I'm digging these holes to actually plant my knockout roses, my double knockout roses, I just kept thinking about him. And I was like, wow, like, last year I remember watching him for the very first time, and I thought, well, I hope one day I can go out there and play in the dirt, and maybe it would be therapeutic to me, I never really thought that that would be me right now. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I have been planting. I've been in this deep planting things. I bought new plants. I bought, new planters and stuff to put them in. And I have bought dirt, and I have bought mulch, and I have bought all these things, to pretty much like promote good life for these plants, from new soil and everything that's already fertilized. I have been loving it so much, getting my hands dirty, really putting in, the time and effort to really try to place these plants specifically a certain way. And I even got these I think they're called boxwood bushes, which we actually placed in front of our garage, one on each side of the garage. And they look so amazing. And it's like the fact that I took the effort to like dig out the holes, put them in, and play with the dirt and put the mulch and water them afterwards, and even still try to maintain them. Right now, when I look outside, I see the vibrant red colors, and just the color selection that I chose for my plants are just very vibrant and out there. And I don't know, you guys, I just found this love, and it just, that YouTuber, when he says, when you're playing with the dirt, it's kind of like you're taking away the hurt. It is so true, because while I'm there digging the holes or planting these plants or pruning or taking out the weeds and stuff like that with my little weed puller, I just find it so calming when I'm doing that. And I realize that I'm in such a place of peace when I'm actually doing this. So I highly recommend for anyone out there that I know, if you guys may not have a green thumb, is totally fine, but you guys can definitely, especially if you guys want to start off small and maybe get just a small little rose bush or a little tulip or something, I would definitely recommend this channel to you guys, My Therapy Garden. He does a really good job and explaining how he actually upkeeps to his flowers. Very simple. And he also does lives in which if you ever have a question about gardening, you can always ask him. But I definitely recommend to go out into nature. And that's one of the things that even my husband kept mentioning to me. Like, you need to go out to nature. You need to go out there, and you need to, you don't understand. You're going to feel so much better. You're going to feel the breeze. You're going to feel, smell nature. You're going to feel nature, everything. Like, you're going to love it. And all I kept thinking was like, nah, I don't know. I'm just not motivated. I'm not motivated. I'm not ready. And it's okay if you don't feel ready right now, but that could be a little goal that you can set for yourself. Whether it's just dealing with just one little plant and just working with that one plant and seeing how it goes. And if it dies, okay, get another one, work with it again, and try to find out what you can change, how you can help it grow better, that kind of stuff. Like, I personally started with something small and I failed, and I started again and I failed, but I kept going. And I hope that you guys out there just keep on trying. And this is just in life too. Just, I know sometimes when things don't always go our way, we want to just give up and say, you know what, this isn't for me. This is just not for me. But sometimes we still have that urge or that want to still explore that particular hobby or that interest that you're probably thinking about. So definitely go out there, step out of your comfort zone a little bit. But I definitely found it very therapeutic to be out there and even clearing most of the brush and stuff like that we have back here. That's kind of like the more like the little foresty thing, which I want to kind of build a little path in there that we have here in our backyard. Even when I do that, I don't even find it as hard work. I zone out, you guys. I zone out and I completely just think about nature and I think about all these plants and these leaves and everything. And it's just puts me in a place, like I said, of peace, puts me in just good spirits. So, you guys, that was mainly what I wanted to talk about here on my channel, just about plants and stuff like that. And I wonder if maybe, I don't know, one of you guys probably feel the same way about plants. I know there's various people in my family who have found the love of plants and they've put them in their house and outside of their house, and they do amazing with these plants. I'm still not going to consider myself such a big green thumb kind of gal yet because I'm still a work in progress. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to research, trying to figure things out and seeing what works for my garden and what doesn't. Also my inner plants, what's working, what's not working. But there's so many new things that I've added to even my indoor plants. I even did like a little fairy garden kind of pot, which I thought was really cool. My mom had recently gone to this floral shop or this kind of nursery kind of shop, and she went in there and she bought a whole bunch of plants. And one of the plants that she had really intrigued me because the colors were just amazing on that plant. I wish I knew like all the names so that I could just tell you guys. Yeah, so I ended up planting that in the planter where I used to have the apple tree for my son. And then around it on the bottom, I got this really lime green, bright kind of grass moss that I placed. And then I bought 2 of those tickle me or sensitive plants that they're called. So pretty much whenever you touch the plant, it would close up. During the night, it would close up. And then during the day, it'll open up. Or if you leave them alone, they would eventually open up. I find it so, so cool. And my son thinks it's like the coolest little plant that I've had. Well, plants, because I have 2 of them. And I all placed them in this pot. And now it looks like a little fairy kind of oasis. It's really, really cute. Either way, before I keep chatting about plants, and I know some of you guys are probably like, really? This is what we're going to talk about today? But yeah, so that's just, I don't know. I just find it so, so cute and like intriguing that like where I was last year, like I knew that I could not even keep a plant. Like I was not even like having much faith in that. And now I'm over here planting and not only indoor plants, but outdoor plants. And it just amazes me how much I've changed, how much a year has done to me. And I hope that all of you guys out there around the world, wherever you guys are at listening, I hope that if you ever start a hobby or anything that you do love, it may be therapeutic. It may be something good for you to try, to try to kind of venture out of your comfort zone, something that you probably thought you weren't good at, but then eventually you'll find out maybe I do got a niche for it, But either way, you guys, just remember, it's okay to play in the dirt, to take away that hurt, just like my therapy garden says from his YouTube channel. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to leave you guys there, and I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Don't forget to follow this podcast and definitely add it to your playlist. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and wherever you guys are around the world, I hope you guys are safe, and I'm sending you guys such high vibrations and tons of love out your way. So I hope you guys are all doing well, and until next time, you guys, bye.